Spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the Jakes. What's up, everybody? Jake Off Nation. Jake Off Nation. What's going on, everybody? It's me. It's Jake Redpath. And it's another episode of Jaking Off. You guessed it, baby. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah. I got to turn this down a little bit. I'm getting a little too hot. Getting a little too fired up, huh? How's that sound? That might be better. That might be better for you guys, huh? Boy, am I excited. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited you're listening. Send anything, as always, send anything at all to jaken.off.podcast@gmail.com or at jaken.off.podcast on Instagram. That's where we're at. Give us a follow if you like the pod. I was a little lazy last week. I didn't even make a post that an episode came out, and so I'm getting back into it. It's been a week, man. The Chiefs were in the Super Bowl. Oh baby, and they won. That's right. Super Bowl champs yet again. What a great feeling it is to have put in all the work that we all put in. You know, a lot of people like to just give the team credit. They like to say, hey, what a great football team. They went out there, they did it. They were, it was really a big season for them. But, I noticed that a lot of people don't give me the credit that I deserve for our Super Bowl win. I was right here just a couple weeks ago talking about how the mayor of Cincinnati was a stupid little fuck. I was here the whole time, baby. So, you know what? I deserve a ring. That's what I think. No, it was awesome, man. It was a great game. It was a great game. I feel like the Eagles played an awesome game. Their defense clearly wasn't what they thought it was. 0 sacks on Patrick Mahomes. Gotta love that. But they're a good team. They're a really good team. People again are upset. They're upset about the calls at the end. They think that there was a holding call made on the final drive of the game. And, well, just to back up for a second, nobody picked the Chiefs to win this game. Hardly anybody did. There were a few people that still believed in the Chiefs, but for the most part, a lot of people thought that the Eagles were going to win. They had the more talented team. They had the better defense. Their weapons on offense were better. All that good stuff. But at the end of the day, I feel like in this showed in the game that the Chiefs had the experience in these close games. They've played a lot of those this season. A lot of those guys that are on that team have played in big playoff games already, So I think that that really showed. But the Eagles played an awesome game, and they were really good. They're an awesome football team. There's a call at the end. The people are upset about the refs, and I kind of feel for everybody in a sense, because the reffing has been really bad this year. The reffing has been terrible this season. But people are really upset about this call at the end of the game, this holding penalty that got called on the Eagles. And I got to say, I think by the rule, the letter of the rules, it is a holding. I mean, the guy grabs his jersey. He's got his arms around him. If you're a ref and you see, a fistful of jersey, it's going to be a holding call all day. I think the argument that people are making is that it shouldn't have been called in that moment. It changed the complexion of the game, which I don't know that I think that it shouldn't have been called. And I am very biased because I am a Chiefs fan. But if I try to remove my being a fan out of it, I think that it was a ticky-tacky call. It was one that they had missed earlier in the game on the same player, between both of the same players, Juju Smith-Schuster and Bradbury, I think his name is. I can't remember the Eagles player's name, but they had missed another call just like that on a third down earlier in the game. And so I think that it was I think that the timing of it was bad because I do think that it changed the way that the game was going to end. But I do think that the Chiefs still would have won that game. I don't think that there's any doubt in my mind that the Chiefs were going to be able to go out there and get a stop on defense just because the second half in the second half they had really sort of stepped up. And really in the first half the Chiefs defense I felt like played a really good game because even the plays like the touchdown to the touchdown to number 11, what's his name? Gosh, I can't even remember his name. The wide receiver for the AJ Brown. Gosh, I'm so stupid. The wide receiver AJ Brown for the Eagles. They had a long touchdown pass. I think it was like 30 or 40 yards at least, maybe a little bit longer. And on that play, like Trent McDuffie and the Chiefs defense, they were in position to make a play on the ball. They just didn't make the play. And so I felt like it was sort of up until the second half, our defense, it had been a story of guys being in the right position to make the play and just not coming through all the way. So it just seemed to me only a matter of time until our defense was able to sort of figure it out and get the stops we needed. But boy, it was a crazy game, really good game. I do feel Eagles fans lament on that last call because that was really iffy. It was a really iffy call, and I say that as like a diehard Chiefs fan. But at the end of the day, I'm just happy we got the W, baby. I'm excited. I'm gonna go to the Super Bowl parade on Wednesday. I missed the last one. The last one, I got the flu. I don't think that I had COVID, but I got the flu. So I wasn't able to make it. I was like sick in bed. I had a fever, all that stuff. So it sucked, but I'm going to be able to go to this one. And I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be sweet. We won the Super Bowl, baby. And I feel this way every football season. I kind of am like relieved a little bit that football is finally over, and I get my Sundays back. I can do stuff on Sundays during the day and that kind of stuff. Because for a long time, this season we were doing Chiefs and Chat. I was doing a show every Sunday, more or less, that was about football. And so that was always, very time consuming and stuff. So it'll be nice to get a little bit of my time back now that football season is over. But people I was speculating. I thought the whole Super Bowl was pretty good. I thought everything was pretty decent. Aside from that call, I thought Rihanna's halftime show was pretty good. I thought it was pretty decent. I was surprised that, because I feel like normally for Super Bowl halftime shows, the people who are performing, they like have other people come and perform. And like they'll have like if they have a song with like another artist or something, or they'll have like surprise guests or whatever. I feel like at the Super Bowl halftime show last year, there was a lot of like West Coast, because it was in Los Angeles. There was like so many West Coast hip hop sort of folks and stuff. But yeah, I just think that I was sort of surprised that there was nobody, but I liked it. I thought that Rihanna did a great job. I was watching it, and I was at my friend's place, and I noticed that she seemed pregnant. But I didn't want to be like, is Rihanna pregnant right now? And the answer to be no, and everybody should be like, you're a piece of shit, like, that kind of thing. And so I was like scared. I was scared to say anything about Rihanna being totally pregnant, but she was pregnant. And that was cool, dude. I mean, she performed at the Super Bowl pregnant. I was watching it, and it was a really good halftime show. I thought it was funny that they did All of the Lights. She played All of the Lights, which is her song with Kanye West. But, like, obviously, they're not going to have Kanye West performing at the Super Bowl anytime soon. So I thought that was, like, an interesting choice, because she just sort of sings like the hook of that song, and then the rest of it is Kanye West rapping. So like a lot of that part of the little medley that she did was you're like, huh, it almost seems like somebody should be rapping here or something. Huh? What happened to oh, that's right. That's right. It's Kanye. Kanye West. So that was fun. I was watching it, and you know, you're just sort of like, okay, this is pretty good for a Super Bowl halftime show. I mean, like, I never really have expected Super Bowl halftime shows to be all that good. I mean, after that time that Justin Timberlake showed everybody Janet Jackson's boob, it's just kind of like, how are you gonna get better than this? How are you gonna get better than titties? You know, which that whole situation was also very sad because she caught a lot of flack for that, but it wasn't really her fault. A wardrobe malfunction. Um, yeah, I remember when that happened, dude. I remember the Janet Jackson wardrobe malfunction. It's crazy, dude. I never seen that was so. And she had like pasties on or something. I remember, and I was pretty little. I was a pretty young kid, and I was like, oh shit, I didn't know people's nipples could be shaped like that. I thought that was like her nipple was like the shape of a star. Stupid. I was a stupid fucking kid. But aside from, the fact that it's a Super Bowl halftime show and taking all that into account, I thought it was all right. But I was certain. I was like, man, people are going to figure out a way to be upset about this. There was nothing particularly risque about it, or I mean, she did like twerk a little bit or whatever, but that's to be expected, I guess. And she was dressed in red, but she didn't have devil horns. So it's just like, what is red off limits? I don't know. I just figured that people were going to be upset, and they were going to be mad somehow. So we'll see how that takes shape. I haven't really gotten the chance to look into it. I know Donald Trump truthed out on Truth Social and was like, how embarrassing. But I think that him and Rihanna have beef that goes like way back. So I don't really I don't know if everybody else is going to jump on the bandwagon with Donald Trump regarding this sort of specific Super Bowl halftime show. I thought it was pretty good. I definitely thought that it was better than the thing at the Grammys that everybody got upset about. The Sam Smith stuff. You know what I'm talking about? The at the Grammys like a week ago, Sam Smith did that song. Unholy is the name of the song. It's already it's you know it's unholy, and he had devil horns on and was dancing around, and there was a lady in a cage, and yada yada yada, and people got freaked out, dude. And honestly, the funniest thing about it was how it went straight from this Sam Smith devil performance to being like, and this is brought to you by Pfizer. There's honestly like not a better way to troll like right wing anti vax people than dressing like a devil and dancing around, and then immediately having having that be brought to you by a you know by a fucking pharma company. It's so funny. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she tweeted about it because I follow her. It's worth it. You should check it out. She said, the Grammys featured Sam Smith's demonic performance and was sponsored by Pfizer. And the Satanic Church now has an abortion clinic in New Mexico that requires its patients to perform a satanic ritual before services. American Christians need to get to work. I hate this. Because here's the thing. I'm not particularly a Sam Smith fan. I don't know a lot of his stuff. Or their stuff, whatever. I've never listened to their music very much. I find award shows to be obnoxious. I don't like them. I think that they're very self masturbatory sort of things that are taking place. And so that's like sort of the base of where I'm coming from is this shit all kind of sucks and I don't like it to begin with. It's really funny that it upset the people that it upset. I think that that's hilarious. But here's the problem. I this is a problem with like I feel like every sort of issue that really gets taken to the next level as far as the amount of people that are talking about it, right? Because this is a person who performed a song at the Grammys. They're dressed up like the devil or whatever. Their music is like, ooh, we're into Satan and da 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 da. That's like the most um sort of like played out trope ever in music. I mean, if you can go back to like rock and roll and all those musicians back in the day were trying to be edgy and trying to be like that kind of stuff, and it just is so played out. It's so played out, and then people get upset, and it really is like a a thing to sort of drum up controversy. And the deal is that like they know that when they dress up like the devil and sing a song about fucking the devil or like whatever whatever it is, which like, so I like it. I like some of that music, you know what I mean? I'm not like bashing the music, but I am bashing the fact that it's like everybody then plays their role afterwards. So you have people on the right, Christian people, getting upset and, being like, this person is demonic. Hollywood is demonic. They're doing it all right in front of your eyes, yada, yada, yada. And they get their whole big storm. And then you get the backlash to that, which is also, all part of the same sort of thing of people being like, I can't believe that these people are upset about Sam Smith dressing like the devil at the Grammys, but they're not upset about the insurrection at the Capitol on January 6th or some shit like that. And it's just so fucking annoying, dude. It's the worst. It's like this is how you know that shit is going downhill in this country very quickly, and we're never going to be able to pull out of it. It's never going to happen. Nothing is going to change for a very long time here. Because this isn't about, there's no actual gist of this argument, right? Like what is the one side is that guy is dressed like a devil and we don't like it. And he's singing songs about Satan. We hate it. And the other side of the argument is like, well, if you hate that, then why don't you hate all the stuff that you like? And it's fucking dumb. It has nothing to do with anybody's life. Nobody is affected by it at all. But for some reason, this is the shit that we care about the most in this country and in politically, really. I mean, this is discourse. This is discourse in America. It's fucking sad. It's so sad, dude. It bums me out. It's the same thing with this week. It's been the Harry Potter game that people have been upset about too. Is if you don't know about that, it's just a Harry Potter video game that came out, and people were saying, "Hey, you should boycott this video game." Because J.K. Rowling, who is the creator of Harry Potter, it's her intellectual property, makes money from the sale of this game, right? And so you should boycott this game. You should not buy it. And you're right. it's totally correct. Of course, J.K. Rowling is going to make money off this game sale. She already made money when the game was being developed to license, Harry Potter or whatever to the company that's making this game. So she's already made money. She stands to make more if the game sells really well. And yeah, by purchasing that game, you're sending money to a lady who, um, you know, might support political programming that you disagree with or that you find abhorrent and bad. And so it's important to be conscious of that. But the problem with the discourse around this game, right, is first of all, well, discourse isn't the right word. It's people are dunking on each other online, and they're arguing about it again and again and again. The big problem with it that I see, as far as building a political consensus, which is really what everybody is trying to do. They want you to trust in sort of the thing that they believe in. They want you to bring you over to their side. And so you see all these people, hey, if you buy this game, you're a transphobe. If you play this game, you're a transphobe, da-da-da-da-da, all this stuff. And what I think a lot of people don't realize is that most of the folks that are going to be buying the Harry Potter game are like completely disconnected from, what issues are facing the trans community. And most of the time, not even because they're transphobic or anything like that, but because they don't pay attention to that stuff the same way that some of us do. And so it becomes an issue, right, where the only interaction that a lot of these people specifically involved with this game are going to have about, trans issues are people telling them they're transphobic for buying or playing this video game. And it sort of makes this video game that for a lot of people is non-political. It makes it a political thing. And not only that, at the same time, it makes them sort of a political enemy of a lot of people that they might otherwise agree with. They may not have known that kind of stuff. And I get it. A lot of people probably would listen to this and be like, well, how could you not know? Like, everybody knows, da-da-da-da-da. I think that you're mistaken. I really do. I think that you're mistaken. And this is the common undercurrent of everything, is that these groups of people that are, and it's, this spans all political sort of parties and ideologies and stuff. Within each sort of political sect, you have folks that are like just really online. They're just eternally online. And the problem with that is most of these people have some of the loudest voices and some of the worst instincts that you could possibly have. You know what I mean? Because the messaging that you want to have, because of course, like, I care about trans issues and stuff. Trans people deserve equality, right? That's what you would want the messaging to be. Trans people deserve equal access to healthcare, equal access to education. These are simple things that most people would be able to get on board with, right? Most people would be able to understand. They'd be like, yeah, I agree with that. Why wouldn't I agree with that? Even people who may not seem like they would be somebody they're on your side, a lot of people would get on board with that. We saw it in the midterms. When you lay things out to voters in simple language and you say, look, do you want to end slavery, right? Talking about prison labor in multiple states. They put it on the ballot as, should we outlaw slavery? And everybody was like, what? I thought it was already outlawed. Yeah, we should do that. The only case where they didn't when it was on the ballot was Louisiana, and that was specifically because there was very confusing language on that ballot. So it really is a matter of keeping it simple, right? And the problem with going after something like a video game, especially a title as popular as like Harry Potter, that is something that a lot of people cherish and love from their childhood, that kind of thing. And the problem with the message that if you play Harry Potter, if you purchase Harry Potter, you're a transphobe, is that it is a complicated thing that most people aren't going to make the connection. They're not going to say, "Oh, I because if you buy this, then you are supporting somebody who supports, anti-trans legislation and stuff." So it's very strange in that sense. It's not going to connect with a lot of people. And the other thing is that when you call for a boycott, and especially something like a video game or whatever, that kind of thing, you have to have some skin in the game. And I think that a lot of people that were, saying that they were going to boycott this game, or that they didn't want to play, that they were telling other people to boycott this game, a lot of those people probably weren't going to buy the game to begin with. And so it sort of removes this, right? Like this sort of thing. Like, I'm boycotting something and I'm going to lose out. I'm going to miss out on stuff because of this boycott, but I'm doing it because it's what I think is right. But with this video game, I felt like a lot of the people were like, we should boycott this, da da da, were people who were already not going to buy the game. They didn't have any skin. They didn't have any skin in it. It wasn't going to affect them whether they boycotted it or not, because they probably weren't going to purchase it. And so what it then becomes is, it becomes moralizing, right, to other people, and it becomes this purity test. This purity test for, if you buy this video game, then you're not ideologically pure, and you shouldn't, and I consider you a transphobe or something like that. You're transphobic. And the problem with purity tests is that they definitely have a place when we're talking about, like, elected officials. It's important to hold them to sort of ideological standards. I think that that's fine. I think that that's okay. But when you start to put those sorts of tests onto everybody, in like large swaths of the population, all Democrats, all progressives, or whatever, you're gonna find that a lot of people will not be able to meet these standards. They're not going to be able to. They're not going to be able to act perfectly all the time. And so, even though I understand where people are coming from, if you buy this game, your money is sort of going to this person who may or may not use it for less than savory purposes. I get that. I just think that the basing sort of a political conversation around something like that is a flawed way to go. I think that, if you want to boycott it. Don't buy the game. I get it, of course. But largely, I don't think that it's a good basis for establishing who is and is not, transphobic or ideologically pure. I think that it's a bad place to center that sort of discourse and these sorts of issues, because there's going to be a lot of people who don't get it. And the other thing on top of that is, I feel like it lacked a lot of direction, right? Because when you boycott something, really the idea is that you're going to get something from the place that you're boycotting, or the person that you're boycotting, the products that you're boycotting. And so the thing with J.K. Rowling is that she's basically she's a billionaire practically. She has, like, I looked it up. It's like $828 million net worth or something like that. That's a lot of money. That is enough money that she could fund as many anti-trans programs as she wants for the rest of her life, and she will be fine financially, And so the purpose of this boycott was, they were like, we're just not going to buy the game. And so you think about it, well, if nobody buys this game, then what happens, right? Because J.K. Rowling isn't going to stop funding the stuff that she's funding if you don't buy this game, right? So there's no real actual underlying goal to be reached out of boycotting the video game, other than owning J.K. Rowling, or like dunking on J.K. Rowling. Haha, your video game didn't sell anything because you're transphobic, and yada yada yada. And I think that that's a really tough thing to get a lot of people on board with. You know what I mean? A lot of people aren't super interested. A lot of people aren't super interested in retribution politics, revenge politics, right? Owning somebody else. I think that in real life, in their real lives, most people aren't into that stuff. But if you go online, if you're like terminally online, that's all politics is, and it's starting to seep into regular life more and more and more, and it's honestly it's really disappointing. It really is super disappointing to me. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we got here from Rihanna, Super Bowl, that kind of stuff. Sorry for going off, guys. Sorry for getting a little distracted. But it just is. I mean, that's all it is now. Is we all just go online and we just like, you fucking idiot. You look so stupid. And the backdrop to all of this sort of shit that's been going on is uh former Twitter executives uh have been testifying in Congress in the oversight committee. And what you're not going to find, what you won't see in Congress from either side, is people actually asking questions that are sort of pertinent to the problems surrounding Twitter. Because on one hand, right, you have people that are upset. They're saying, well, Twitter is, essentially has been one of the biggest ways that people propagate misinformation regarding vaccines or da 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 da, the election, blah blah blah. Everything. Twitter is where a bunch of misinformation grows. That sort of stuff. And the other side of the aisle, you have people grilling Twitter over um, you know, censorship of conservative accounts and conservative Twitter accounts. And um, it's really pathetic. It really is pathetic. In it all ties into like the Twitter files, that shit gets brought up. But there's nobody is really asking what I feel like are the really important questions of things like privacy, right? Things like Twitter and the way that they store massive amounts of information on their users and use that to sell to other companies and things of that nature. I really am sort of just disillusioned with the whole thing, because even people who are like supposed to be, progressive and da 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 da, like the resort is that they ultimately they just want to make the other side look stupid, and they don't want to actually figure out what's wrong with Twitter, which is a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. I mean, not, censorship or, disinformation aside, the problems with Twitter are like so beyond what any of these people are talking about. And it's never going to be addressed. I would say the biggest issue with Twitter is that it's not disinformation. It's the big issue with Twitter isn't censorship or whatever. The big issue with Twitter, in my opinion, is that politicians and the media have made it seem as if Twitter and the sort of things that are happening on Twitter are like so important that it's like really intrinsic to like our political system and stuff. When in reality, all this company does is it's a bathroom stall that people can write whatever the fuck they want on it. And nobody's actually reading it and coming away with an opinion change. They're just getting pissed off. And it's taking all of their information, and their attention and turning that into, advertising dollars and that kind of stuff. But there's no actual political power behind Twitter. It drives me insane. You can look at the numbers. All it takes is just like being not a moron. You go look at the numbers and you see how many active daily users are on Twitter enough to sell ad revenue. I've talked about this so many times. But it makes people feel, it gives the illusion that, things like this, like an oversight committee hearing about Twitter, gives the illusion to the American public that anything happening on here is like legitimate at all, and it's fucking not. One of my favorite like social commentators, Neil Postman, he wrote a book called "Entertaining Ourselves to Death," and one of the main principles of this book, and this was back in like the '80s, I think, that he wrote this, but he's talking about television. But I mean, it applies so perfectly to sort of the kinds of media that we take in now, because he talks about how um nothing that we see on TV as is news is actually news, and it's very much so. It's just entertainment, right? And one of the things that he uses to illustrate this is presidential debates. He gives you like an example, where everybody tunes into this presidential debate, right, between whoever it is, Trump and Biden, and the moderator, everybody's taking it very seriously, and the moderator, he goes, "Hey, President Biden, what is your proposed solution to the Israel-Palestine conflict?" And you have 2 minutes to answer the question. And sort of the point that Neil Postman makes is if this were serious, there's no 2 minute answer to that question. You know what I mean? That's not a 2 minute answer kind of shit. And all these questions that they get asked, you have 30 seconds to rebuttal to whatever the other guy said. None of it is serious. It's all very much a joke. And if anybody was actually taking it seriously, we would all be like, "Hey, wait, what the fuck? Like, this isn't right. None of this is right." But it really is a prime example, and it holds true to this day, because this sort of stuff is put out there as if it's like so important. What's going on at Twitter is like one of the most important things to American society somehow. And we're having congressional hearings about it. They're talking about it on the news. They're putting out the Twitter files or whatever on Twitter. And at the end of the day, though, all they're talking about is the equivalent of like a public restroom stall. It's just people writing on the wall. They're saying whatever they want, and none of it is important, really. If Twitter fucking shut down tomorrow, the world would be honestly better. But it would be no different. Nothing would really fundamentally change that much. So I just find it really frustrating that nobody is sort of like asking the important questions regarding Twitter. Everybody is really keeping up with this charade that this kind of shit is actually important at all. I mean, this country and the world, society has existed for so much longer than Twitter has existed. You know what I mean? But now you like turn on, and I think a lot of this also is a function of how news coverage works now, because a lot of the news is just they're rehashing shit that they're reading about on Twitter. It's fucking awful, dude. And it's the stupidest shit, and I wish that everybody would shut the fuck up about it and talk about actual problems. Like this fucking train derailment in Ohio where a bunch of people are going to fucking die or get cancer or whatever because of the, just lack of regulation over corporations. I mean, it's fucking ridiculous, dude. So yeah, that's my Twitter rant. Again, sorry. You guys are probably tired of hearing about it. Well, I have a fun thing to end this episode with. Luckily, this is something that I found. This is really funny. So, I was surfing the web. You know how I do, baby. I be surfing the web. And I found this really interesting video. Now, this guy's name is Felix_Cypher on TikTok. His TikTok has been taken down. The reason why is going to become pretty apparent in this video. So I'll go ahead and play this for you, and then
Alright, it's time to address the nose ring drama. So if you haven't seen my latest video where I made this new nose ring right here, people are essentially calling me every name under the sun because I had the Reichsadler on my jacket. So I need to tell you guys a little something about me. And you can call me crazy, you can call me whatever you'd like, any name under the sun. But I'm very in tune with my past and my past lives and lifetimes that I've lived before this one. My last life just so happened to be a very infamous one. Me offing myself was one of the first memories I had from that lifetime. It came to me when I was 5 in my nightmares. You can see right where I shot myself too. That and just so many other things throughout my life have connected me to my past. And you can go say, oh, go get on your meds again, you nutter. I've been on so many meds and none of them have changed what I saw when I was 5.
Okay, so it's elusive. If you're watching this, you know exactly immediately who he's talking about because of his fucking nose ring. But if you're not watching it, this person believes that they're Adolf Hitler reincarnated. And he's got like a septum piercing, and he's got a nose ring that is meant to look like like Hitler's mustache, basically. And yeah, I mean he's got the haircut, he's got the glasses, and the way that he was when he said I got shot in the head or whatever and turned his head, he has like a birthmark on the side of his head allegedly where he shot himself when he was Adolf Hitler. Oh, it made me laugh so hard, dude. It's the funniest shit ever. I mean, first of all, the idea of reincarnation, I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that like if you're a bad person, you get reincarnated as like something worse than a person or whatever. You don't just become a human again. I think you get like, your next life is like somehow like worse. It's like punishment for, I don't know, killing 6 million Jews or whatever. Um so yeah, I mean that part is weird, but on top of that, he's like he's like sitting in front of a bunch of like stuffed animals. Dude, he's like sitting in front of a bunch of stuffed animals and he's like, I am Hitler reincarnated. So what are you going to do about it? Oh, dude, did Hitler even kill himself? Like shoot himself in the head? Was that how he killed himself? I thought he took like poison pills or something. Maybe he shot himself. I don't know. I'm no Hitler expert. What do I look like? This guy, huh? He's Hitler reincarnated, dude. I mean, seriously, man. What is what is that? Why? Why Hitler? I don't know. There's something really weird about him just being in front of a bunch of stuffed animals like he's in a children's room, a child's room or something, and saying that. It's very eerie. But of course people are like, this guy's crazy. Like, what an insane person. And I feel like of all the people that you could say that you were reincarnated as that shot themselves in the head, picking Adolf Hitler is fucking bold, dude. You could pick anybody. You'd be like, "Oh, I've been reincarnated as Kurt Cobain or something." Yeah, that's why I love guitars and heroin or whatever. But you picked Adolf Hitler, which is funny because he also loved heroin. I'm pretty sure. No, it was meth. He liked meth. It's very strange. It's like such a strange thing to pick, dude. I don't know. And yeah, it's just sort of weird. I looked it up because his shit all got taken down. Of course, he got fired from his job. Probably not a lot of people want Hitler working for him. I guess nobody wants to work these days except for Adolf Hitler reincarnated. Dude, I like looked into it and like I guess that another thing that people were like they like were like, oh, this guy likes to lay eggs. He has like a egg laying fetish or something. Pretty fucking scary, dude. Yucky. Yeah. So that guy is Adolf Hitler. He's back, baby. Adolf Hitler too. Electric Boogaloo. Coming at you, dude. Uh, and I will ensure that these stuffed animals have their rightful place in society. He's like such a fucking weirdo. All right, guys, that's it. That's it. Was this funny? Probably not. Did I enjoy it? Yeah. Yeah, I did. I did. Rihanna is pregnant and Adolf Hitler is back. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Jake and Off. I love you. Have a good one.